Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we continue chapter 4 of Crown Without Magic. Emily gains a new title. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, so you don't miss the following chapters. Chapter 4, The Blooming of the Blossom. The king's birthday banquet was in full swing when the royal announcer's voice cut through the music and chatter. The honored guest of His Majesty has arrived. Every head turned toward the grand doors. Emily stepped inside. She wore a stunning light green gown, delicate as spring leaves, with diamonds sewn into the fabric that caught every candle flame. A diamond necklace glittered at her throat, and she carried a matching fan, which she raised casually as she walked forward. Behind her, the murmuring began. "That's Emily Ashford. And she's the honored guest. That can't be possible, right?" But Emily did not falter. She walked with her head high, her silver hair pinned elegantly, her green eyes sweeping across the room. She saw the shock on their faces. The confusion. The judgment. And she smiled behind her fan. The king rose from his throne. His gray hair and beard gleamed under the chandeliers, and his kind eyes crinkled as he smiled. "Let us welcome," he said warmly, "the person who helped protect our kingdom." The murmuring stopped. The king himself descended from the dais, a rare honor, and approached Emily. She curtsied deeply. "Your Majesty." "Rise, Lady Emily." The king studied her with genuine admiration. "You have done what my entire court could not. The loan sharks are crumbling. My people are breathing easier. And that bank of yours." He laughed. "It was causing me to age faster, you know. All those sleepless nights worrying about how to solve it. I only did what needed to be done, Your Majesty," Emily said. "Modest, too." The king turned to face the crowd and raised his voice. "By royal decree, I hereby grant Lady Emily Ashford her own noble title. She shall be elevated to the rank of Countess. The ceremony will take place in 2 weeks." Gasps echoed through the hall. Even Emily's composure cracked for just a moment. Her eyes widened. She had not expected this. The king smiled at her surprise. "You've earned it, my lady." He returned to his throne, and the moment he sat down, the nobles swarmed. "Lady Emily. Countess. Please, allow me to introduce myself. Your bakery is extraordinary. I must speak with you. Velmont has transformed my husband entirely. I always defended you, you know. Always." Emily stood perfectly still, fanning herself slowly. She remembered every whisper, every turned head, every laugh at her expense. And now they were falling over themselves for her attention. She caught a glimpse of Crown Prince Elias across the room. He was surrounded by women, but his eyes were fixed on her. And he was smirking. She looked away quickly. "I'm sorry," she said to the nobles pressing in around her, her voice light but firm. "I'm not feeling well. Would you all give me some space? I can't seem to breathe with you all so close." The nobles immediately stepped back, apologizing profusely, promising to visit her office to discuss investments. "Who said I was going to invest in their businesses?" she thought. Throughout the evening, noblemen approached her for dances. She refused every single one. Finally, she excused herself and slipped out of the ballroom. In the quiet hallway, footsteps followed her. She stopped. "What do you want?" She turned. "Lady Mackenzie." Mackenzie stood there, nervous. "I tried to come close to you in the ballroom every chance I got, but I couldn't. So I followed you. What do you want?" Emily asked flatly. Mackenzie hesitated. "I know you and I are not on good terms, but I really admire you." Emily raised an eyebrow. "You admire me? I know how it sounds. But I love how confident you are. How you look like no one can make you feel lower. Mackenzie saw Emily's unmoved expression and her face fell. Forget it. She turned and walked away. Emily stood there, confused, then shook her head and continued toward the gardens. More footsteps. She turned, ready to confront Mackenzie again. It was a man. Dark hair. Green eyes, just like hers. "Hello, sister," he said, smirking. Emily's blood went cold. Rowan. Her older brother. The one who had locked her in dark rooms. "What do you want?" "Look at you," Rowan said, stepping closer. Confident now. Dressed in your own expensive brands. He stopped in front of her. "Now pay back your family for raising you." He bent close to her ear. Who would have known the family dog had these kinds of skills? The moment Emily heard that she was reminded of her last brother as Vanessa, she got angry and tried to slap him. Rowan dodged and tried to hit her like he used to. Emily moved. She hit his throat. Kicked his leg. He crashed to the ground, coughing. She looked down at him. "The fragile Emily you knew is long dead. And I won't take any of your bullshit like she did." She bent down. "If you get in my way, I won't hesitate to kill you." She turned and walked away. At the courtyard, Adrian waited by the carriage. "What's wrong?" he asked. "Nothing. Let's go home." "Emily." She turned, wondering who it was this time. Langston stepped out of the shadows. "Can I help you, Your Grace?" she asked. "I saw what happened with your brother," he said. "I can protect you from them. Your night escort can't do anything against your family." Adrian's face darkened. "Excuse me, Your Grace." "Stop, Adrian." Emily looked at Langston. "You and I are divorced. You don't need to mix yourself in my life now." She climbed into the carriage. Langston reached for the door. Adrian slammed it shut and glared at him as Langston glared back. "Go to your estate and mind your own business," Adrian said. He swung onto his horse. "Let's go." The carriage rolled away, leaving Langston standing alone in the dark. As Emily got home that night, she paced around her room. Even though she didn't want to admit it, what Langston had said was true. She was rich. And now she was going to receive her own title as a countess. Trouble would come. Trouble always comes when someone is successful. She needed protection. 1 week passed. Emily grew busier by the day. Everyone in high society wanted to meet her. Letters arrived from every direction, and she had to refuse them all. Between the endless invitations, she was also preparing to receive her title. After the week ended, the king summoned her to the palace to discuss matters before the ceremony. When she arrived and entered the king's office, he greeted her with a warm smile. She curtsied and returned the greeting. He invited her to sit, and they began discussing which lands she would receive. Emily truly did not know what land she wanted. "I could give you a list of available lands," the king said. "You can pick one you like." Emily smiled. "Your Majesty, why are you being so kind to me?" The king looked at her. "When my father issued the royal decree allowing women to create businesses, inherit titles, and become family heirs, he always wanted to see a woman make something of herself. But all the women in this kingdom believed that work, politics, and business were meant for men." He paused. "My father is no longer alive, but I know, wherever he is happy. Because one woman has finally stepped forward to make his dream come true." Emily smiled. "Thank you, Your Majesty." She hesitated. "May I ask for something else?" "Of course," the king said. "What do you want?" "I would like to choose my own noble title." The king raised his eyebrows. "If that is what you wish, I will listen." Emily looked at him. "I want my noble title to be Countess Emily Blossom. Blossom is the name I choose. Can it be done?" The king considered this, then nodded. That is beautiful. Do you know what the name means? Blossom refers to the flowers of a tree or shrub, particularly those that precede fruit, or the act of producing them, Emily explained. It signifies a state of blooming beauty, a peak development phase. The king smiled. I can see you put a great deal of thought into this. Emily thought to herself, it's not really common here, but it is where I come from and I always thought it was pretty. The meeting ended, and Emily rose to leave. As she walked through the corridor, she came face to face with Crown Prince Elias. Lady Emily, he said smoothly. What brings you to the royal palace? Emily looked at him suspiciously, then curtsied. Your Highness. It's such a lovely afternoon, isn't it? Then would you care to take a small stroll through the royal gardens with me? I am sorry, Your Highness, Emily said, but as you know, I am about to receive my own noble title. I am quite busy at the moment. Elias smiled. I can see that. You are the first woman to reject my invitation. Emily met his eyes. A great many women would love to reject you, Your Highness. They are simply too afraid of your title to do so. Elias laughed. Would you excuse me? Emily said. I have things to do. I cannot wait to see what new things you develop, Elias said. I always found it strange how you suddenly started acting differently. It seems you had some things hidden behind you. Thank you, Your Highness, Emily said. She walked away. She felt his eyes burning into her back, but she did not stop. She kept walking. Elias watched her go. Interesting, he murmured to himself. The woman who was a disgrace to the entire kingdom has become the most powerful woman, even more powerful than a princess right now. He chuckled darkly. If I had a sister, she would be pulling her hair out knowing a woman of Emily's status was stealing her popularity. When Emily returned to her mansion, Julian greeted her at the door. My lady, the little girl from the black market is here to see you. Emily's face brightened. Oh. Elara is here. Yes, my lady. She came with her father, as you requested. Emily entered the waiting room. Elara stood up immediately, and beside her, a middle-aged man with tired eyes rose as well. They both bowed. Please, sit, Emily said warmly. You and I have much to discuss. She asked the man about how he created the artifacts, what materials he needed, how the process worked, everything. He explained patiently, but between every few sentences, he would scratch his arms and try to hide it. Emily frowned. Are you still unwell? Did you not get better? The man looked down. I felt wrong keeping you waiting, my lady. As soon as I had enough energy to get out of bed, I came here. No, Emily said firmly. You must rest and heal. Then we will speak. The man shook his head. I cannot be healed, my lady. My sickness is terminal. It is not contagious, but there is no cure. Most who contract it die within a year and a half. It has already been half a year since I fell ill. He lifted his tired eyes to hers. I am doing everything I can to provide for my family before I leave them behind. Emily listened to what the man said. Her heart broke as she watched Elara trying desperately to keep her tears from falling. Can you tell me the symptoms of your disease? Emily asked. The man hesitated. Milady, it is a disgusting thing to speak of. I do not feel comfortable sharing such words with a noble lady like yourself. I am trying to help, Emily said firmly. And please, I have seen worse. The man relented. He explained that he often felt extremely tired, suffered from severe stomach sickness and digestive issues, and experienced irritability. His skin had developed rashes, especially in areas exposed to the sun. Although he had not yet reached the final stages, others before him had suffered confusion and memory loss. Emily listened carefully. What do you mainly eat? Mostly dried corn, plain bread, and white rice, the man admitted. Emily was shocked. Do you not eat meat, legumes, or nuts? The man looked at his daughter, then back at Emily. Milady, where we come from, we do not have such luxuries. Where are you from? Elara answered, the island slum. Emily stared. The what? Julian stepped forward. Milady, it is a slum on an island next to the capital. There is a bridge that connects to it. Why is there a slum on an island? Julian's voice turned bitter. They placed them there because they thought they would stain the beauty of the capital. Who owns that island? No one truly lives there, Julian explained. It is simply where the slums are located. Emily stood up. I want to see this island. Julian refused at first, but after Emily insisted, he finally agreed and called Adrian to accompany them. When they arrived, Emily saw that the island was massive, yet the slum was crammed into one small section. Why does everyone crowd together in one area while leaving so much land empty? She asked. Elara's father answered, we stay close together for warmth. The winds on this island are brutal, and we do not have enough blankets. Emily looked toward the mainland and saw fertile farmlands in the distance. But here, everything was barren. Why do you not farm here? The soil grows nothing, the man replied. As they explored further, they came across a grand, luxurious mansion standing alone in the empty land, and it was crumbling. Why is there a mansion here? Emily asked. Adrian explained, this land once belonged to a noble. But because it was infertile and useless, they sold it. As they continued walking, Emily spotted strange plants in the distance. She squinted. Adrian, do you see that plant over there? He nodded. Yes, milady. Is that a Theobroma cacao plant? Adrian looked confused. I do not know what that is, milady. Emily quickened her pace. As they approached, she realized the forest was filled with cacao plants and maple trees. She stared in disbelief. Who said this land has nothing? This is a treasure chest. Julian frowned. What are you talking about, milady? Emily pointed at the plants. Do you know how they taste? Elara wrinkled her nose. They taste horrible. Emily crouched down to Elara's level and tapped her nose playfully. That is because you do not know how to eat them. She smiled brightly. These plants can create the most delicious desserts. Elara's eyes went wide. Really? Of course. Adrian added, if milady says it can happen, then it can. Emily straightened. Who owns this land now? Elara's father answered, the royal family. Emily smiled confidently. Of course. Then I know exactly which land I am going to claim. She paused. But before that, I need to help the people I am going to rule over. Adrian was shocked. Milady, you intend to choose this land? Yes, Emily answered firmly. She turned to Elara and her father. I do not allow my people to live in poverty and sickness. I will fix this. Emily asked to see the sick villagers. After examining several of them, she announced, this disease is not some terrible curse. It is pellagra. Everyone stared in confusion. Emily explained, it is caused by a lack of vitamin B3, niacin. She saw their blank expressions and sighed. It is caused by poor nutrition. If you eat foods like meat, legumes, and nuts, you will recover. She looked around at the gathered villagers. You will see. I will ensure you all live proper lives. She turned to Elara and her father. You two and your other family members will stay at my mansion. I will cure you. You are not going to die. The man fell to his knees, tears streaming down his face. Thank you, milady, how could I ever repay you? Emily told him gently, get up. You will simply repay me by helping me in the future. That evening, Emily returned to her mansion and immediately wrote to the king, requesting ownership of the island. The next morning, the king summoned her. "Why would you choose a land with infertile soil, a slum, and sick people?" he asked. Emily answered confidently, "Because that land is a treasure chest. And I am the only one with the key to open it." The king was skeptical, but Emily assured him, "I already know how to cure the people." Impressed by her determination, the king granted her request. A week later, during her noble ceremony, Emily was officially announced as Emily Blossom, Countess of Blossom County. The island slum became her territory. The nobles gasped, believing she had received a worthless piece of land. As she looked through the crowd, she saw her family. Her older brother, Rowan, looked furious. Her second brother, Killian, and her younger sister, Clara, snickered among themselves. Her father remained neutral and her mother looked enraged. But Emily knew better. She knew she had just claimed a treasure chest. At the banquet, while Emily was drinking, Archduke Langston approached her. "Why would the king give you that land?" he asked. "It is infertile and useless. You should have protested." Emily looked at him sharply. "Why are you so concerned? It is not as though the mine you gave me was any better." Langston looked embarrassed. "But at least that mine gave you diamonds." Emily replied calmly, "If something valuable can come from something seemingly worthless, then you should know this land will prove the same." She added coldly, "Please do not come close to me. I do not want rumors to spread." Before Langston could respond, Elias stepped forward. "Leave her be," the crown prince said smoothly. "She has a vision for this land. I believe in her." Langston sighed as he greeted the prince. Emily lifted her head high, her confidence unwavering, as the music swelled around her. Prince Elias asked Emily for a dance, extending his hand just as he had at the ball where they first met. "May I have this dance on this wonderful day for you, my lady?" he said. Emily stared at him and was about to accept the invitation when Langston interrupted. "I was here first, Your Highness," Langston said coldly. "I was about to ask her." The prince looked at him. "You have been standing here for some time. If you wanted to ask her, you should have done so already. Now, if you will excuse us." Before anyone could object, the prince pulled Emily onto the dance floor. Everyone watched as they began to dance. The prince was skilled, and so was Emily, because the first Emily had trained in everything in order to become a proper duchess. Together, they moved beautifully across the floor. As they danced, the prince asked quietly, "I know you asked the king for that land. Why?" Emily kept her composure. "Your Highness, I do not understand why you keep trying to involve yourself in my life. Please stop. You are the one who keeps pulling me closer," Elias said. "How?" Emily asked, genuinely confused. The prince looked at her. "Every time you reject me, it does not push me away. It only makes me try harder." Emily stared at him. "I do not understand men." The prince glanced toward Langston, who was watching from the edge of the crowd. "I can see I am not the only one in the race for you, my lady." "There is no race," Emily said flatly. "So you should both drop out. No one is winning." Crown Prince Elias smiled. "We shall see about that." They continued dancing. The crowd clapped and praised them. Even the king clapped, clearly impressed by their performance. The ball continued. Langston eventually excused himself and left the banquet. Nobles continued to flock around Emily, desperate to gain her favor. When the ball finally ended, Emily went home. The following day, Emily and her small crew, Kelly, Lucian, Adrian, and Julian, went to the island to inspect the mansion, which had not been occupied in a long time. As they reached the gates, the building looked worn and neglected. "My lady," Kelly said, "are you really going to live here? This place looks haunted." "Of course not," Emily replied. "We are going to make it luxurious. A place that deserves us." They entered the gate. The mansion was grand but old. It had not been maintained well, and it was crumbling right before their eyes. When they went to the back, they found a body of water, not small enough to be a pond, not large enough to be a lake. "This place is beautiful," Emily said. Kelly looked around at the bare ground. "There are no plants here. How is this beautiful?" "You need to use your imagination," Emily said. "Picture what you want this place to become. It is going to look like something out of this world." Lucien stepped forward. "My lady, would you like me to find workers to renovate the mansion?" "Yes," Emily said. "Find many of them. I want this done quickly so we can move into our new home." When they returned home, Emily began planning how her house would look. She designed it like a modern woman, blending old and modern architectural styles. Lucien found workers as fast as he could. When they saw Emily's plans, they were surprised by the unique style, but also deeply impressed. Renovation began immediately. While the work progressed, Emily also made sure the villagers on the island were living in comfort. One day, while Emily was working in her office, Lucien approached her. "My lady, I was not there when you, Adrian, Julian, Elara, and her father visited the island. I do not know what treasures you found there that made you request that land as your territory. Would you mind explaining?" Emily looked at him. "Call Pierre." "I am not going to just tell you, I am going to show you." Pierre came as fast as he could, because every time Emily called him, he knew it meant a new dessert. Emily, Lucien, and Pierre went to the island to gather cacao beans. Emily showed them the entire process. After some time, the cacao beans were ready. Emily created chocolate. When she finished, everyone was all gathered around. Emily handed each of them a piece of chocolate. "Taste it," she said. Adrian stared at the chocolate in wonder. How did beans turn into something like this? Pierre had already taken a bite. His eyes widened. "I will never doubt you, my lady." Everyone else tasted it and was amazed. Kelly smiled. "My lady, the surprises you bring us never seem to end." "This," Emily announced, "is the new signature dessert for Sweet Petal Patisserie." Julian frowned. "But my lady, you said the whole forest was a treasure chest. You only made this from those beans. What about the trees you were so happy to see?" Emily walked to a cabinet and pulled out a glass bottle filled with maple syrup. "Taste this," she said. Julian tasted it. His eyes widened. "This is so sweet. Like sugar and honey mixed together." "That is called maple syrup," Emily explained. "It comes from the maple trees on that island. It can be used in desserts to sweeten them in a way sugar cannot." She smiled. Chocolate and maple syrup will grab the nobles in a chokehold. As time passed, the new desserts were released and became extremely popular. After a few months, the villagers had been cured of pellagra. They were all healthy and full of praise for their new leader, Countess Emily Blossom. Before moving into the mansion, Emily had a conversation with Elara's father, whose name she learned was John. She asked him how he made artifacts. After he explained, Emily showed him a sketch of something she wanted him to build. John studied the sketch carefully. "I will do my best, my lady. Give me 1 month." When the mansion was finally completed, it looked amazing. The gardens were stunning. And as everyone moved in, they were all amazed by how gorgeous it looked. It was unique, luxurious, and unlike anything else in the kingdom. Because the mansion was so large, Emily's current servants were not enough. She acquired new slaves, reasoning that she could not trust just anyone and wanted the safest option. The new servants settled in quickly. While Emily was settling into her new home, she received an invitation to the hunting festival, a noble event where nobles camped and hunted for entertainment. As a lord with her own territory, Emily was invited as a participant. Kelly looked at the invitation with concern. "My lady, you cannot go. Even though you are a lord, you are still a lady." "No, it is fine," Emily said. I will go to show them that being a woman does not change the fact that I am a lord with my own territory. That evening, John arrived with the finished artifact Emily had requested. He placed a box in front of her. When Emily opened it, she was shocked. It looked exactly as she had imagined. It was a gun, a revolver. Does it work? Emily asked. I have not tested it, my lady, John admitted. Since I do not have mana syndrome, I cannot use it. Emily took the gun into her garden. She infused her mana into it. Because mana was flammable, when she pulled the trigger, it created a spark that ignited the mana and fired the bullet. The bullet was so powerful that it shot clean through a tree. Emily looked at the gun and laughed. Hearing the gunshot, Julian, Lucian, Kelly, and Adrian rushed over. What was that sound, my lady? Adrian asked. Emily looked at them, still smiling. Now, she said, no one will mess with me just because I am a woman with power. As days passed, Emily began preparing for the hunting festival. Since she was a lord, she needed to participate, and she would not refuse, especially because she had only recently received her title. Refusing such an important event would only damage her reputation and weaken her newly established position. While Emily was busy with her preparations, Vivian came to visit her. Her cheeks were bright red with embarrassment as she entered Emily's office, where Emily was currently speaking with Lucian. Emily looked up and noticed Vivian standing there awkwardly. What are you doing here, Miss Vivian? You have been standing there for several minutes. What brings you here? Vivian's face became even redder as she quietly muttered, It is done, my lady. Emily tilted her head. What did you say? Vivian suddenly raised her voice in embarrassment. It is done. Emily blinked in confusion. Wait, what are you talking about? What is done? Vivian quickly explained, the clothes you asked me to design for women, my lady. Emily's eyes widened with realization. Oh. I had nearly forgotten about that. Let us go and see them. Of course, my lady, Vivian replied. Lucian, who had been listening nearby, smirked. So this is the secret project you were hiding from us? Emily nodded. Yes. Can I see? Lucian asked immediately. Emily smiled. Of course. You should come. As they prepared to leave, they encountered Adrian and Kelly just before entering the carriage. Kelly asked curiously, Where are you all going? Emily explained, We are going to see the designs I asked Vivian to create for women. Kelly's eyes sparkled with excitement. They are finished. Emily nodded. Yes. Would you like to come? I would love to. Kelly exclaimed happily. Adrian crossed his arms with interest. So the secret you were keeping from us is finally revealed. May I join as well? Emily laughed lightly. Of course. But do try not to look too embarrassed. When they arrived and viewed the designs, both Adrian and Lucian immediately regretted their curiosity. The clothing designs were elegant, bold, and highly fashionable, undergarments and nightwear, crafted beautifully with intricate detail. Some were daring, while others were luxurious and graceful. Basically, it was lingerie. Kelly was thrilled, admiring every piece with sparkling excitement. Meanwhile, Adrian and Lucian stood in a corner with bright red faces, unable to properly look at the designs. Emily laughed at their reactions. Come now, look properly. They are gorgeous. Both men immediately protested. My lady, this was clearly a mistake. Emily laughed even harder before turning to Vivian. You did an excellent job. These designs will sell incredibly well. Vivian's face brightened with pride. 2 days before the hunting festival, Emily was asleep in her room when she suddenly sensed someone nearby. Her eyes snapped open. Without hesitation, she quietly reached for the gun John had specially crafted for her, which rested on her bedside table. Moving silently through her dark room, Emily carefully searched for the source of her unease. Then she felt it, a presence near her balcony. Positioning herself beside the balcony entrance, she waited. Moments later, a figure slipped inside. Emily acted instantly. She struck swiftly, tripping the intruder and forcing him to the ground before pressing her foot firmly against his chest and aiming her weapon directly at his face. "Who are you? What are you doing here? Who sent you?" The man removed his mask, revealing a handsome face framed by long red hair, striking purple eyes, and darker skin than most in the kingdom. He looked up at her, surprised yet amused. "Impressive. It seems the rumors about you were true." Emily narrowed her eyes. "Answer my question." The man smirked, though his gaze briefly lingered on Emily's nightgown. In the moonlight, her appearance was unexpectedly captivating, and he found himself momentarily distracted by how elegantly sexy and commanding she looked, even at such a vulnerable hour. "My lady," he said smoothly, "you should be careful. I am not someone you should provoke." Emily immediately recognized him. Second Prince Cassian Salmeyer of the Salmeyer Empire. Surprise crossed his face. "How did you know?" Emily's expression remained cold. "What are you doing in my room?" Cassian's expression softened slightly. "I simply wish to see the woman who has occupied my thoughts ever since our dance together." Emily suddenly remembered. The mysterious man she had danced with before, the one with red hair and purple eyes. At the time, she had been too focused on enjoying herself to care about his identity. Before she could question him further, there was an urgent knock on her door. "My lady." Adrian's voice called out. "I heard something. Are you all right?" Emily immediately panicked. Without warning, she yanked Cassian to his feet and shoved him back toward the balcony. "Get out. And do not come back." As Adrian continued knocking and threatened to enter, Emily quickly shut the balcony doors. "I am fine," she called out. "It was only a nightmare." After ensuring Adrian was satisfied, Emily turned back, but Cassian was already gone. She sighed in relief. The following day, a mysterious woman with pink hair arrived at Emily's territory. As she gazed upon the once-forgotten slum, now transformed into a thriving and beautiful town, shock filled her face. Her hands clenched tightly. "What happened?" she whispered. "This was not in the story." End of chapter 4. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next chapter.